3 years into my marriage with Jason, I got pregnant. That day, after endless coaxing, Jason finally agreed to come with me to St. Camilla's Hospital for a prenatal checkup. We were still standing in line when his phone rang. "Lacey, something urgent popped up at Vance. I've to run. But you promised to stay for the entire prenatal checkup. Be good, just listen." With that single word, listen, he dumped a pregnant me at the hospital. That night, Jason didn't come home at all. I found out later. It was Sophie's birthday. The first time I met Sophie was at Jason's college reunion. The moment we walked in, everyone turned to stare. "It's Sam. Is this the missus? When did Sam land such a gorgeous wife? Come on, introduce us." Jason and I had married in haste. No one even knew. "Sam, is this your new girlfriend?" Sophie asked, swirling her red wine, a teasing smirk on her lips. "Sophie, Lacey's a girl I met not long ago. She's not officially my girlfriend yet." His words floored me. After 3 years of marriage, I now counted as less than a girlfriend in front of this woman. Swallowing confusion and fury, I stared at the stranger called Sophie, the woman who looked 80% like me. Suddenly, I understood. I forced down the stabbing pain in my chest, turned slowly, and looked straight at Jason. He offered no explanation. He simply pulled Sophie to sit with him. He laughed and joked with their classmates while leaving me standing alone. My self-respect felt trampled. The hurt suffocated me. I perched there like a total idiot. Jason's sudden roar snapped me back. "Zane, lay another finger on Sophie, and I swear I'll kill you. Sam, you two broke up. Who I touch is none of your damn business. Plus you already have your new girl. Who the hell told you she's my new girl? Well, hear this. Sophie, I'm claiming her tonight." Crack. The bottle exploded over Zane's head. Blood streamed down his cheek. Jason fought for Sophie, yet when drunks harassed me at a barbecue stall, he'd stood there indifferent. Afraid Jason might be hurt, I rushed over and tugged his arm. "Jason, stop, let's go home. Who gave you the right to boss me around?" Seeing Sophie insulted, Jason turned rabid, snapping at anyone in reach. "Jason, don't fight for me. Seeing you hurt breaks my heart," Sophie cried, then hugged him. He didn't push her away, he pressed her into his arms, shielding her. Damn it. He acted as if I were thin air. I wanted to strangle Sophie, only I was too chicken. No, this wasn't the time. Just wait. The day will come. The heavens are watching. Someday they'll deal with you. Only after Sophie gently coaxed him did Jason finally stop, bruised and bloodied. She carefully straightened his rumpled clothes. Seeing him wounded pained me, so I tried to whisk him off for bandages. "Jason, let me take you to get patched up." "No need. Sophie will go with me. You head home alone." That night, once again, Jason failed to return. I lay in bed typing, deleting, retyping. Let's file for divorce. My heart twisted in knots, yet in the end I couldn't hit send. I kept replaying the start of us. Back then he was hospitalized with serious injuries, and I happened to be his nurse. Day after day I cared for him, watched him, and somehow, without noticing, I fell in love. I only remember blurting out before his discharge that relapse odds were high, that he'd need an attending physician close by to stay safe. Jason was gentler than ever that day. Maybe he believed my prognosis, maybe he simply loved my face, but from that night on we lived together. Later he played the model husband and treated me wonderfully. He said he would repay everything he once owed me, and, drunk on his tenderness, I never parsed the real meaning behind his words. Then, somehow, he changed. He grew irritable, mocking my ugly clothes, my lousy cooking. I told myself Vance had hit a snag, that stress made him lash out. So I struggled and healed beneath his indifference, while the desire to leave burned stronger each day. The next morning, Jason breezed back as if nothing had happened. "Lacey, an emergency kept me at the office. Didn't realize you were waiting." I didn't wait. I fell asleep early. Absence makes my rest sweeter. "Lacey, are you still mad? Yesterday with Sophie was only window dressing for the crowd. Don't you trust me at all?" I stayed silent. Replying would only trigger more argue. Seeing my stony face, Jason panicked. "When I'm furious, I don't care what I do." "Lacey, don't sulk. The day after tomorrow is your birthday. I've planned a huge surprise. It'll blow you away. Consider it my apologize, okay? I nodded without a word, accepting his offer. On my birthday, Jason left at dawn, claiming produce would be freshest that early, saying he would cook me a lavish meal. Watching his eager routine, I forgot the hurt of the previous days. Little did I know his efforts were really for Sophie. Lacey, look how plump these shrimp are. I'll make my famous drunken prawns. This fish is perfect for Sichuan pickled fillets, he chattered, holding up groceries. I was seething. He knew I loathed shellfish yet had bought nothing but seafood, unless it wasn't meant for me. Just as the dishes were nearly ready, the doorbell rang. Jason bolted to open it, abandoning the simmering pot. Of course, Sophie followed him in, carrying a cake. Happy birthday, Lacey. Sorry about the reunion. I was out of line. I've scolded Jason too. He shouldn't have ignored you just because someone bullied me. He must consider your feelings. He's such a typical blockhead. Oh, and after the party, everyone kept saying you could be my stand-in. You and I look so alike. But thank you, Lacey. I've been away from Jason all these years. Thanks for taking care of him for me. She flashed me a sugary smile, the kind that turned my stomach. I smiled right back. A wife looking after her husband is a given. Why would an outsider like you thank me? On the contrary, I overheard one of Jason's classmates calling you a homewrecker the other day. Don't take it to heart. Homewrecker sounds ugly, but it still beats dying of envy. Sophie's face flushed and twitched with fury. Sensing the tension, Jason walked over. Lacey, how can you talk to Sophie like that? Apologize. When I didn't move, he shot me a glare and led Sophie to her seat. At the table, Sophie took one bite of shrimp and cooed. Wow, Jason, these shrimp are amazing. Stretching the last word, so it rose like a little song. And Jason, ever predictable, picked up the biggest shrimp, peeled it, and placed it in her bowl. Sophie, I remember shellfish was your favorite. Made them just for you tonight. Lovely. He'd hijacked my birthday to cook for that manipulative witch. My appetite vanished. They looked like the real couple. I felt like the spare. Suddenly, Sophie noticed the engagement ring on my hand. Lacey, that's the engagement ring Jason was going to give me. It should go back to its rightful owner now. She stood, grabbed my wrist, and tried to yank the ring off. I saw red. How dare she lay hands on me, in my own house? I wrenched my free arm back and cracked a sharp backhand across her cheek. Sophie stared, stunned that I'd actually throw a punch. Without a word, she scooped up the nearby cake and hurled it at me. The hard box split my cheek, blood trickling down. I was a wreck, frosting in my hair, cake on my clothes. Jason took in the spectacle, fighting a smirk that stabbed me like a blade. I grabbed a plate to fling back, but he caught my wrist and the plate smashed on the floor. Lacey, touch her again and see what happens. Watching the man I love shield another woman, I shook with rage, my heartbroken pulse hammering in my ears. I broke free, ran to the bathroom, and stared at my cake-covered reflection. My eyes burned red, brimming, lips trembling. I tried to smile at myself, whispering it would be okay. But the moment my lip curved, tears spilled in fat drops. Outside, their laughter drifted in. Through the door, I caught Jason's voice. Sophie, happy birthday. So, this was the grand surprise Jason had planned for me. My birthday, ruined by Sophie. Fury swallowed me. I flung the door open and pointed at Jason. You two just wait. I'll make both of you regret this. I slammed the door and left. Downstairs, the cold night air sobered me. Why should I leave? This is my house. The other woman should be the one to go. I stormed back up. The instant I stepped inside, I saw Sophie perched on Jason's lap, arms looped around his neck while he fed her a peeled shrimp. Seeing me, Sophie jumped up, silent, eyes glittering with challenge. Lacey, I thought you'd rolled out. Couldn't stay away from me, could you? His sleazy grin made me sick. Why would I leave? My name is on the deed. If anyone's rolling out, it's you two. Back when we were crazy in love, Jason had put the house in my name. This place cost me every cent. How is it yours? Because you cheated. Cheated? You have proof? I had none. His question shut me up. That's right, Sophie chimed in. Jason paid for every brick. You're the squatter. I clenched my fists and gave a thin laugh, headache pounding, then slammed the door and walked out again. Halfway down the stairs, my vision tunneled, and I blacked out. I woke in a hospital bed. Jason wasn't there. He didn't even know I'd collapsed. A stranger had called the ambulance. Lacey, how many times have I told you? Anger can burst that aneurysm and dump blood into your subarachnoid space. You could. Why won't you listen? The woman scolding me looked exactly like I had when I used to beg Jason to stop smoking. Nina, I know, but seeing those two makes me furious. File for divorce, for your own sake and for baby. What good would divorce do? I know how this ends. My mom died the same way. You still can't let them off. Make them pay. Stay with me for now. I'll keep an eye on you. I have to go back once. Jason said I had no proof he cheated. I'll get the evidence and grab my things. How will you record them? Tell me what you need. I'm installing a pinhole cam on the headboard. Sooner or later they'll do something filthy in my master bedroom. I'll have it all on footage. Leave the camera to me. Rest today. Tomorrow we'll move you out. Thanks, Nina. A week passed. Jason never sent a single message. My disappearance seemed normal to him. Nina and I reached my house at 9 p.m. I keyed the passcode, changed. I couldn't open my own front door. Rage flared again. Maybe you mistyped, Nina said gently. Try again. 5 failures. I wanted to strangle Sophie. I dialed Jason. Sophie answered. Lacey, Jason felt awful about ruining my birthday the other night, so tonight he's taking me to the Ritz-Carlton grill room to celebrate properly. This time I really can't invite you over, she said. I'm scared you'll get so furious you black out again. So Jason had known I collapsed that day. He'd simply chosen to look the other way. Still can't give you the passcode, though. The owners aren't home, she went on. If anything goes missing after an outsider wanders in, what are we supposed to do? I hung up, typed the date I'd nearly died of rage, and sure enough, beep, the smart lock clicked open. The moment I stepped inside, I thought I'd walked into the wrong address. Lacey, is this still your place? Nina gasped. How did it change this much? No doubt about it. Sophie had overhauled the whole house while I was gone. The potted plants I'd lined up on the terrace were gone, pots and all. The fish in the koi tank had vanished. Every wall gleamed with framed selfies of the two of them cuddling, kissing, grinning. I bolted to the master bedroom and yanked the wardrobe open. Every stitch of mine had disappeared, replaced by an entire row of raunchy lace teddies that definitely weren't mine. My trembling fingers pulled out the bottom drawer. Inside had been my most precious amulet, the only keepsake Mom left me. Jason knew exactly what it meant to me, yet he'd still tossed it. I remembered how sick Mom had been, dragging herself to the temple to beg that tiny silk pouch for me, swearing it would keep the illness from snatching me the way it had snatched her. While the amulet is here, I'm here, she'd whispered. Now the amulet was gone, and so, again, was she. Nina kicked the wardrobe, so hard the doors rattled and spat, scum and his tramp. With no time for comfort, she whipped out microcams. Jason and Sophie might come back any minute. She planted one at the footboard and one in the chandelier. Then we heard the front door. Pretty clever, guessing the passcode, Jason said coldly. I didn't waste words. I cared about only one thing. Where's my amulet? You know it's the only thing my mom left me. I know. I threw it out, but it should still be in the building's dumpster. Run now and you might beat the garbage truck. Wait any longer and, well, I shoved him aside and sprinted. Tears spilled the second I hit the hallway. Jason, how could you do this to Lacey? You know she's pregnant with your baby. Why keep hurting her? You're not even human. What? Say that again. Lacey's carrying my baby? Jamie, you'd better not be lying. Why would I lie? I just feel sorry for her. Jamie dashed after me. Jason, a baby's no big deal. I can give you one right now, let's. Her red lips landed on his. Jason shoved her away, something he'd never done before. Sophie, Lacey's carrying my baby. I don't care if she dies, but the baby stays. Why? I'll make you another. Listen, this one is non-negotiable. I'll explain later. He rushed out after me. At the trash mountain, I clawed like a madwoman through plastic bags that flapped like ghosts in the wind and stank of rotting shellfish. Nina held her phone flashlight while my coat turned into a filthy rag and my hands bled through the grime. Lacey, come home. I'll send someone at daylight, Jason said, materializing beside me. You go. I'm not leaving without that amulet. Clatter, clatter. Mr. CEO himself started digging through garbage too. Nina whispered, "Sorry, I blurted out the pregnancy," and Jason followed. Weird, though. When Sophie offered to make him another baby, he refused. My hands kept flinging trash, but a cold smirk tugged at my lips. I knew exactly why. He wanted a child of his blood. He just couldn't make one anymore. After I got pregnant, he kept vanishing overnight, and, terrified he'd knock up someone else, I'd sprinkled a little insurance powder into his dinner. Result: Sophie could warm his bed, but she'd never swell it. My womb carried the only air he'd ever have, the single reason I mattered. By 5 a.m. the amulet still hadn't surfaced. A cleaning lady waved a tiny sachet. "Miss, is this what you're hunting for?" The red silk caught the street lamp like a stab in my eyes, in my heart. I bit my lip until it bruised, refusing to break down in front of him. Back at Nina's, we watched the feed pop up right on cue, Jason and Sophie thrashing across the mattress. I saved every frame without blinking. "Jason, why keep her baby? I'll give you a prettier one." "You don't get it, this one's mine. Once it's born, will you dump me?"
No.
"I'll take the kid and file for divorce. Then the three of us live happily, while she walks away broke. Trust me, Sophie." They went back to their sweaty calisthenics. I held my fire. The moment wasn't ripe. Funny thing, days later the audio caught the two of them mid-screaming match. Only after checking the footage did I discover that Jason had come home from work to find the apartment looking nauseating. Papers and snacks were scattered across the table, coffee stains blotched the wood, and crumbs were mashed into the couch cushions. Worse, last night's dishes still floated in the sink, shreds of limp greens bobbing on a film of cold grease. Back when I was around, none of these chores ever touched Jason's hands. I kept everything immaculate. Now that I was gone, and since Sophie wouldn't know a sponge if it bit her, the mess landed squarely on him. Days piled up, and explosions were inevitable. "Sophie, the place is a pigsty. Can't you pick up after yourself? I'm not your wife, so I can scrub floors. Besides, if you love me so much, how could you bear to make me clean?" In the end, the quarrel escalated until they started to throw a punch. I, watching from my screen, laughed so hard I snorted like a pig. That same day, Jason showed up again, lugging shopping bags stuffed with prenatal vitamins, claiming the baby needed to bond with Daddy's voice a little more often. I couldn't be bothered. I sat quietly editing the clips, saving a blockbuster surprise for later. "Jason, let's stop the dance and talk numbers. I know you want the baby. Give me the deed and $10 million in liquid assets. And after delivery, you get full custody." "Lacey, I was an idiot. A donkey kicked my brain. I swear I'll straighten up and stop fooling around. Life without you is hell. Apologize?" He wanted me back as his maid. Keep dreaming. "Curtains still up, please." "Lacey, these days without you taught me I never loved Sophie. I love you. I thought I still wanted her, but I can't live without you. Lacey, come home." If I hadn't overheard his real agenda on camera, I might have fallen for it again. Going back isn't impossible. Show me good faith. What kind of good faith? How do I know you won't drag another mistress in or kick me out again? Unless you transfer the house outright and hand over every dollar in our accounts. Jason nodded before the sentence finished. In his mind, the property plus cash barely topped $20 million, while Vance Media's upcoming IPO would vault his net worth into the stratosphere. He still came out ahead. His little calculus had blared through the spy mics days earlier. There was no way I'd let that IPO happen. So Jason signed the house and all liquid assets to me, and I promised to move back tomorrow. That night, while Nina helped me pack, she asked, "Lacey, you're really going to live with him again?" "Not a chance. I'm just moving in to spring the trap." Next afternoon, when I walked through the door, every cushion and picture had been restored to my old arrangement, A decent show of sincerity. Jason, I'm back, but I live here alone. You're pregnant. I should take care of you. If you stay, I leave. I'll call when I need you. Reluctant, he went. I flipped the smart lock, then yanked out the micro cameras. I was putting the place on the market. Next, I phoned an agent and listed the property under market value. Once the paperwork was emailed, I exhaled. Now I only had to wait for baby. But fate laughed. Jason dropped by with supplements. The door had barely opened when I blacked out. I woke in St. Camilla's Hospital. Jason clutching my chart. What is this? Why didn't you tell me? Tell you? That would have hurried my death. His mouth opened. No sound. Watching him deflate felt delicious. Lacey, cost doesn't matter. We'll beat this. You're delivering in a few months. Even now, the baby mattered more than I did. Whatever he treasured, I would deny him. He pulled strings and flew in star specialists. Under their regimen, my numbers slowly improved. My rebound rattled Sophie. Only if I died could she ascend as Mrs. Vance. One afternoon, minutes after Nina left my private ward, Sophie slipped in. She looked bloodless, eyes hollow, wearing a hospital gown, clearly rotting in her own hell. Lacey, what spell did you cast on Jason? After that night, he cut me off. Did you whore him back? Sweetie, you can't blame the toilet when you can't shit. My taunt ignited her. She seized the fruit basket and hurled it at my belly. Huge as I was, I blocked with the quilt. When the basket missed, she charged for a second strike. I cracked a backhand across her face before she got close. Stunned, she froze. I seized the moment and screamed, "Help! She's attacking a pregnant woman." Jason burst in first, so terrified for the baby. He spun Sophie around and slapped her the moment he saw me crouched, clutching my belly. Sophie, how many times have I warned you? This is my baby. Why can't you get that through your skull? Then, mimicking her old damsel act, I wailed. She smashed the fruit basket into my baby. Cramps, baby. Please be okay. I staged a possible miscarriage right in front of him. The air was everything he craved. I was perfectly fine, but Sophie was dragged out for a lecture. I could only imagine. After several rounds, I had his hierarchy mapped. Baby trumped Sophie, and Sophie trumped me. A few days later, the realtor called. The house had sold. Exactly $8 million. Enough for baby and me to start over. I was 2 weeks from my due date. During those 14 days, Jason never left my side, vanishing only when I pretended to sleep. One night, the instant he tiptoed out, I sent Nina after him. Honestly, I was dying to know why Mr. Devoted sneaked off once I shut my eyes. Nina tailed Jason all the way to the basement garage of St. Camilla's Hospital. She watched him stride straight to Zone B and slip into a pink sedan, Sophie's car. Moments later, the chassis began to rock in a slow, unmistakable rhythm. Nina didn't tell me until later. She was afraid my condition couldn't take the shock. She worried the news would hit me so hard it might endanger the delivery. But an accident still happened. Only it was Jason who never saw it coming. That morning, he paced outside the delivery suite, eyes shining with dreams of an heir. While, unknown to him, a video was already detonating across the internet. On screen, I sat in Nina's apartment, eyes swollen from crying. Hi, everyone, I'm Jason's wife, Lacey. We've been married 3 years. I gave him my youth. Yet while I'm pregnant, he cheats, brings his mistress into our home, and plans to throw me out penniless the instant our baby is born. When you watch this, I'm in labor. I don't know what will happen to me or my baby. Please help us. More clips followed on third-party sites, footage of Jason and me that was never meant for daylight. All the while, Jason waited, beaming, for the cry of his newborn. Sophie saw the clip first, tagged in the company group chat by her boss with the words, "We don't employ shameless scum." Then Jason's own phone exploded with messages. "Sam, we're being investigated. Our market cap is tanking because of your viral scandal. If a man abandons his pregnant wife, how can he run a company? Regulatory warnings are flooding in. Do something or Vance is finished." Jason finally grasped the stakes. He wanted to bolt, but the thought of the unborn heir chained him to the building. He holed up in the stairwell, speed dialing every contact who might bury the story. Each refusal whipped him into a louder frenzy. And every curse, every half-confessed crime, was immortalized by the ceiling camera, an unexpected gift to the police. Sophie burst in after his 18th failed call. They no longer clung like lovers. They glared like enemies. Jason, you sick bastard, thrills were your idea. I said no cameras. You insisted it was hotter. Now the whole planet's watching us. You're blaming me? I told you cloud drives get hacked. Only after did it dawn on them. They'd mistaken my footage for theirs. I've swallowed enough crap from you. Sophie screeched and lunged, nails aiming for his face. Jason, still loving her, would never throw a punch. He simply swayed aside by the railing. Sophie, all momentum, lost her balance and shrieked as she pitched over. He grabbed a fistful of skirt, too late. A dull thud echoed 18 floors below. Jason couldn't even lean over to look. Time blurred. Then a cry, sharp, newborn, floated from the delivery suite. It tugged him back to life. He brushed dust from his pants and stumbled toward the sound. Inside, Nina cradled the infant. Lacey, it's a boy. What will you name him? Nathaniel, I whispered. Nathaniel, remember the beginning? Jason echoed from the doorway, reaching for the baby. He never touched him. Cops stormed in, slammed him to the floor. Someone had found Sophie's body and the stairwell feed. The earlier phone rants sealed the charges. They dragged him away, still screaming. Lacey, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I never learned his sentence. A month later, Nina wheeled me out of St. Camillus. What now? She asked. I'll quit. Take the baby. Go back to my hometown. Stay. Jason's locked up. The city's yours. Too many ghosts. I need to leave them behind. One bright morning, I boarded the train with Nathaniel. As the landscape blurred, I looked ahead, scared, determined, free. The city that had broken me shrank in the window, dissolving into a memory I would someday lock away.
Epilogue.
Years later, son enrolled at Belmont University, Jason's old school. He told me that on his first checkup at St. Camillus, the old at the entrance asked his name. When he said Nathaniel, the man murmured, Nathaniel, remember the beginning, and wept. That hospital was the very place Jason had once left me to face prenatal checks alone. Thank you for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this story? If you liked it, give us a thumbs up, share with friends, drop your thoughts below, and subscribe for more.
See you next time.